keeping of exotic animals as pets has long been a source of intrigue and debate. These animals may make for an attractive addition to any home, from the majestic beauty of big cats to the distinctive charm of exotic birds and reptiles. But keeping an exotic animal as a pet has major drawbacks. It is against the law to keep many exotic animals, and doing so can be quite dangerous for both the owner and the general public. Even those that are allowed to be owned need particular care, diets, and surroundings that can be costly and challenging to maintain. Despite the difficulties, many animal enthusiasts all around the world are nevertheless drawn in by the appeal of keeping an exotic pet. Welcome to the Animal Channel, the one channel for all the interesting animal facts around the globe. Ready to dive and let's go. Miley Cyrus and George Clooney have proudly referred to baby pigs as their pets. Known for looking after a chicken named Coco who sleeps in her bed, Tori spelling. But when it comes to strange animals that are allowed for private ownership in the US, such critters are merely the tip of the iceberg. State regulations on exotic pet ownership differ. Despite the fact that most wild animals should not be kept in captivity, campaigners for animal rights haven't stopped exotic pet owners from lawfully keeping everything from ferrets and foxes to more deadly species like alligators, bears, and tigers. Not in the wild, but as pets, tigers predominate. According to the World Wildlife Fund, the number of wild tigers has decreased to approximately 3,890, while there are currently roughly 5,000 tigers living in lawful captivity in more than a dozen states, many of them as private pets. Although Mike Tyson undoubtedly finds having a pet tiger exciting, taking care of one may be extremely difficult. A tiger's enclosure should be as large as 40 square miles because its diet can include up to 88 pounds of meat at a time. Even while research suggests tigers can live in harmony with humans, every angry, caged cat has the potential to become aggressive at some point. Foxes are just as intelligent as dogs and may one day be domesticated. Despite their difficulty in becoming totally domesticated, wild foxes have been bred over the years to live in a manner that is somewhat similar to that of dogs and cats. Currently, up to 15 states allow the ownership of fox pets, albeit breed-specific laws apply. The most prevalent, the fennec fox, is a cute, little, and generally placid group animal. Nonetheless, it's vital to remember that even these little furry buddies are not totally domesticated. Tarantulas kept as pets can be rather difficult. Although they appear to be soft and cuddly, tarantulas will normally avoid being handled by people and prefer a dim location to hide out until their next meal. Other creepy crawlies like crickets, mealworms, and roaches usually make up that meal. While many brave arachnophiles disagree that these supercharged spiders make good family pets, it is completely lawful for people to keep tarantulas in many places. A large commitment, an alligator may outlast you. Several jurisdictions, including Florida, the unofficial home of the gator, allow private ownership of this reputedly lethal reptile, according to find law. Baby alligators, which are less than a foot long and essentially harmless, are popular pets because they are so lovable. According to the National Zoo and Conservation Biology Institute of the Smithsonian, however, adults can reach lengths of over 11 feet, massive weights over 1,000 pounds, and lifespans of up to 50 years. Additionally, their carnivorous appetite is nearly insatiable, making pet owners into appetizing feasts. Although they are contentious, kangaroos are permitted in several states. Even though kangaroos are native to Australia, some have found their way into US backyards. However, many animal advocates are protesting the rules that permit private individuals to keep them as pets, claiming that cruel conditions have resulted in an excessive number of kangaroo deaths at the hands of untrained keepers. Elvis Presley once had a few wallabies, a smaller and more peaceful variety of kangaroo. However, like their larger counterparts, they may become dangerous when irritated. Consider getting a pet llama if you're stressed out. The llama is a calm, unassuming animal that is frequently used as a therapy animal, which is why it makes such a wonderful family pet in the places where it is permitted. As long as it has lots of outside room and preferably a furry companion by its side, a pet llama is obedient, affectionate, clean, and typically low maintenance. Llamas are herd animals. Do you need one more good reason to take some of these adorable animals home? It turns out that llamas are just as effective at repelling predators as security dogs. Skunk ownership isn't as unpleasant as it sounds. According to PBS, the majority of domestic skunks are products of captive breeding, when they undergo early removal of their scent glands. Given that descented skunks are unable to survive in the wild if they get lost, several animal rights activists have criticized the technique as cruel. However, people who in the 17 states where it is permissible call this unexpectedly playful animal a pet are aware that a very well-fed skunk that receives a lot of attention, care, and discipline is likely to stay close to home. Porcupines can be rather laid-back pets, but they can also be brittle. Yes, you can pet a porcupine, and you are even allowed to keep one as a pet in some areas. But it takes perseverance and expertise to handle this prickly rodent securely. One too many curious canines who have been the target of a quill attack have discovered that lesson the hard way. Porcupines can be trained to a certain extent, and some even develop affinity for people, but keep in mind that they are solitary animals that can turn vicious when provoked. Boa constrictors can certainly kill you, but they're not likely to. A boa constrictor is actually fairly kind when given the correct care, despite its menacing name. According to the Spruce Pets, this typically entails bespoke enclosures with simulated tropical climates and a meal composed of pre-killed rats and mice on a weekly or monthly basis. This unique, non-venomous pet is obviously not for the weak of heart. But despite not being provoked, of course, its gentle disposition has gained it legal status in many states. Cougars kept as pets can be trained, but they cannot be domesticated. Cats in the wild are simply that, wild. However, you are permitted to keep them in captivity in some U.S. jurisdictions. The cougar is a well-liked option for owners of exotic pets, but it's also a perilous one. Despite gradually becoming acclimated to its people, a privately held cougar cannot be tamed like a dog or cat. The best you can hope for is a quiet, occasionally playful pet that won't use its strong jaw to suffocate you. Just ask Kristen Bell. Two-toed sloths are the hottest animals in the exotic pet business. Upon seeing a two-toed sloth, actress Kristen Bell openly broke down in tears, which caused her to go viral in 2012. The majority of the internet concurred that these critters that live in trees are irresistible. They require a lot of care because they are wild, tropical creatures used to surroundings that can't always be replicated by pet owners. Despite the fact that owning sloths is legal in a number of places, the Sloth Conservation Foundation advises against taking comfort in their lethargic pace. Actually, their defense technique for blending in when they sense a threat from predators is their stillness. Your pet bear may turn out to be your closest buddy or deadliest adversary. It turns out that more than a dozen states allow people to keep bears as pets. However, if the Humane Society has its way, this won't be the case for very long. However, there have been far too many cautionary tales of bears who snapped and mauled people out of the blue after developing close ties with them. Bears have been known to form intimate bonds with their human carers. That's because bears are wild animals with instincts that might suddenly resurface, whether they're kept as pets or not. Owning a pet monkey is like spending 40 years rearing a child. Monkeys are adorable and, in some respects, resemble small people, but that's also part of the reason they're difficult to care for as pets. According to the Primate Rescue Center, many monkeys can live up to 40 years and need ongoing care and attention. That entails 4 decades of diaper use in addition to hostile actions like biting and feces throwing. However, that hasn't stopped Americans from keeping exotic pets like naughty capuchin monkeys, as Ross did on Friends, and high-maintenance chimps like Bubbles, owned by Michael Jackson. These are only a few of the species that are kept as pets all around the world, along with snakes, parrots, iguanas, tortoises, and even otters. The exotic pet trade has both legitimate and illegitimate aspects. Legality is irrelevant, though, whether wild-caught or captive-bred, it's all terrible. Additionally, the commerce in exotic animal pets is expanding quickly. When maintained as a pet, no wild animal can have all of its needs satisfied. There is no way to provide them the same amount of room and freedom in a home as they would have in the wild. Many are kept in enclosures that are much smaller than their native habitats, which prevents them from acting normally. Even when owners make an effort to feed exotic pets properly, this is not always the case. Do your best to make the right choice to keep them safe. Thank you for watching. Follow for more.